If you're as worried about your kids' feet being squished into narrow toe box shoes with giant heel-to-toe drops as we are, then this video is for you. After discovering minimal or barefoot shoes and enjoying their benefits, it's only natural to want the same for your kids. Luckily, lots of barefoot shoe brands are picking up on this and making their shoes in kid sizes. Today we're talking about a shoe from one of our favorite brands. This is the Feelgrounds Arcade. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Sons of Seaver YouTube channel, where there's no such thing as bad weather, only bad gear. As I mentioned just barely, we are talking about a pair of kids' shoes today. This is the Feelgrounds Arcade. My brother Chris and I are going to ping pong back and forth, telling you all the things that we like and don't like about these shoes. There's timestamps down in the description if you want to skip around, but let's send it over to Chris to start us off with his likes.
Getting into my likes of the Arcade, the first thing that I want to mention is the flexibility of the shoe. We still mainly try to keep my son barefoot. He is 2, he's getting more adventurous, he wants to run around a lot, and so we do have to put shoes on at this point. But I notice when he is running around barefoot, his foot is bending and flexing in a really good range of motion. I want to maintain that for as long as possible, if not forever. So the flexibility of this shoe is great. Not only does it bend and twist really nice from side to side, but I can actually roll it all the way up as well. That's due to a nice minimal 5mm stack height, which is no stranger to a Feelground shoe. They use 5mm as their base stack height a lot, and I love that for a kid's shoe. The next thing I want to mention is the shape of this thing. What's funny about this is that in the kids models, it seems that Feelgrounds does a really good job at keeping a nice wide toe box. This is plenty wide for my son. He's got actually kind of boxy, narrower feet right off the gun, which is great for him. This has plenty of room for him to splay out, and I don't have any worries about his toes getting squished together in this model. In Feelgrounds adult shoes, they do go a little bit narrower, Eric, and I think that's because they're trying to kind of get more of a traditional look out of their shoes that appeals to more people. That totally makes sense. It's still wide enough for our feet, but in the kids models, they definitely go much wider, and I love how foot shaped the shoe is overall. The last thing I want to mention is how grippy these things are. We do have just the traditional raised bump pattern that we're used to on a lot of Feelgrounds models. We found that that has worked really well for us, whether it's going out on a court to play basketball, pickleball, or lifting weights in the gym. Plenty grippy for all of those things. For my son, it's great on the playground if he wants to walk up the slide, which kids love doing for whatever reason. Plenty of grip for him to do that. If he wants to go on my electric longboard with me, which he does a lot, then plenty of grip to keep him on that board when he does choose to keep his feet on the board. I love the grip pattern on Feelgrounds shoes in general. I think it's very reliable and very consistent and works fantastic. With my likes of the Arcade out of the way, I'm going to pass things over to Eric to get into what he likes about the shoe.
Okay, when it comes to my likes of the Feelgrounds Arcade, the first thing is the amazing shape of this shoe, because it is shaped like a human foot should be, and it has a very nice wide toe box so that your kids' feet and toes can splay out the way that they're supposed to, and I really appreciate that. When I look at a lot of kids' shoes, when you go to Target or Walmart and you go and you buy those, I just am so worried about their feet becoming deformed the same way that mine were, the same way that Chris's were, and I don't want them to have to go through that. So to get a shoe that has a toe box like this is just awesome. The shape of these ones is something that I really love about it. Now, the kids, I don't think they notice, I don't think they care, but for me, it gives me a lot of peace in mind when they put their feet in these. The next thing that I really like about these shoes is their durability. Feelgrounds, I think, makes some pretty durable shoes when it comes to barefoot shoes. They've got these really good rubber outsoles that seem to last quite a long time, at least all of mine have, and these kids ones have lasted a pretty long time too. My kids have been rocking these all summer long, and they're still in pretty good shape. I also appreciate the side stitching that Feelgrounds puts on their shoes. So just as a point of illustration, when it comes to the durability of the shoes, this is a shoe that you can pick up from Target, just your generic summer shoe, and as you can see there, the toe is completely blown out. Now, when my son rides his scooter, he uses this foot as his brake, and he just drags his toe along the ground. So that's why that happened. Now, this is the same footed shoe for my son, but the Feelgrounds one, as you can see there, the toe is holding up just fine, and he's worn both of these shoes pretty much the same amount this summer. This thing is made out of quite the blend of things, so I'm just going to read it off the website here really quickly, but it's made from natural cotton twill, sturdy micro suede, and other vegan child safe materials that prioritize both comfort and safety. So I think that the materials that it's made out of are doing a really good job at putting up with the abuse that kids put their shoes through. And then something specific to this model, I really like the mesh ventilation panels that they have on the sides there, because these worked out really well as a good summer shoe. If it was really hot outside, then this was a good option for my kids to throw on, knowing that they were going to get a lot of protection, but that their feet were also going to be able to stay cool with those mesh panels that are on there. So I think it's a well-designed kid shoe. I love the shape, I love how long it's lasted, and I think that it's a very comfortable shoe for your kiddos out there. Alright, before sending it back over to Chris so that he can talk about his dislikes of the shoe, I wanted to mention some of the affiliates we have going on with the channel right now, and the big one for today is Feelgrounds. We really like their stuff and what they are continuing to do in the barefoot shoe space. Now, previously, a lot of their models were made out of recycled plastics, and that was kind of something that people weren't too happy about when it came to our comment section, but lately they've been coming out with models that use more natural materials, so that's something that we're pretty excited about. We like the boots that they make, we like the casual shoes that they make, we like the kids shoes that they make. Feelgrounds does a really good job, and we definitely think that you should go check them out. Use the link in the description to get to their website.
Getting into my dislikes of the Arcade, I only have two things that I don't like about this shoe. Overall, I think it's fantastic. I think it works really well. Give you my final opinion in a minute, but the first thing I don't like about it is the price. This thing is $74 USD, which is very steep for a kid's shoe. Now, I can justify that price real quick for you if you want. This thing is super durable. My kid has been beating the crap out of them, and they're holding up great. I'm planning on using this with other kids. We went with black so that it would be somewhat gender neutral, and my daughter, who is about a month old at this point, will eventually wear these, and I think they'll do just great for multiple kids. So if you're planning on having multiple children that are going to go through this pair of shoes, $74 probably isn't the worst thing in the world. The next thing I want to mention is that these things do gather debris. They are marketed as a sandal. I believe they use that exact word on Feelgrounds' website, but what you'll notice is they're mostly enclosed up at the toe. These two vents here are mesh. You can see your kid's feet through those vents, and they do gather things like sand. Now, with a traditional sandal, you could just lift your foot up and shake it a little bit, and you'd get the debris out. With this, because of how enclosed it is, it's gonna gather and hold all of that stuff. So not a huge fan of that. Luckily, my son's not super bothered by having stuff in his shoes, and we don't even know about it until we take these off of his feet, and then we pour a little mountain of sand out of his shoes. But they definitely let debris in, and they hold it. I'm not a huge fan of that. Getting into my final opinion of the Arcade for kids, I'm a huge fan of this. I've become no compromise for my kids' footwear since I've gotten into barefoot shoes, and I've been trying to undo my bad foot anatomy that's been created over the last 30 years. And this thing checks all the boxes for me. Wide toe box, zero drop, very flexible, a minimal sole, and it breathes, which is nice. I think it also looks pretty stylish for the most part. Not that that's the most important thing with kids. For some of you, it will be very important. But I think that this is a great option if you're looking to get your kid into a pair of barefoot shoes that is going to just perform for the time that they're going to wear. If you're interested in checking this thing out, make sure to use the link down in the description to navigate over to the Feelgrounds website.
Okay, talking about my dislikes of the Feelgrounds Kids Arcade, and there's only one thing that comes to mind, and that is that they are a little bit more difficult for kids to put on than I would have hoped. Now, it would appear that they have a pretty simple design. It's just these Velcro straps, but for my 4-year-old, he just kind of struggles with it for whatever reason. He'll end up pulling the strap all the way out of that loop right there, and then I have to go help him feed it back through so that he can get it on his foot. So my 7-year-old, she doesn't have a problem with it. she's old enough that she can deal with it pretty easily. But for some of the younger kids, I think that they are just a little bit more difficult to put on, and that really is the only thing that I can think about that I don't like about these shoes. When it comes to my final opinion of the Feelgrounds Arcade, I love these shoes. They put my mind at ease when my kids have them on their feet, because I know that their feet are going to be able to act naturally. So I love looking at little baby feet and seeing the ways that their toes articulate and splay out, and I'm super jealous because mine have completely lost all of the muscle that moves them independently, and they all kind of just move as one clump. And I want my kids to be able to hold on to that. I think that their feet are healthier, and that gives them the foundation for a healthy body. And so I think that a pair of shoes like this really is important for them, and I'm glad that Feelgrounds has such an awesome option that is foot shaped, that is nice and flexible, it's durable, it's also breathable. I think that it's worth the price point if these are things that concern you with your children's feet. Obviously they do come in at quite a bit more than your $20 pair of Target shoes, but I mean, look what happened with these. So it is a shoe that I would recommend for people who are looking for barefoot shoe options for their kids.
Folks, if you like this video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share. All those things really help the channel out. If you're interested in any of the products that we talked about in this video, there will be links to them down in the description. If we have discount codes for any of those companies, they will be featured with the links. If you want to get more content from us, there are 3 different places you can get it. The first one is Patreon, where for $1 a month, you can get exclusive behind-the-scenes content we don't post anywhere else. If you want to be most up-to-date with what we are working on, make sure to follow us on Instagram, where we are constantly posting unboxing videos. Go follow us on Strava if you're interested in seeing mini reviews in real time of the products we're using and what we're using them for. Strava allows you to track and post about your different activities. We track and post about our runs, trail runs, hikes, paddleboarding, and weightlifting, and we do little mini reviews on the products we're using during those activities. Go follow us there, and we will follow you back. We appreciate your view, and as always, we will catch you in the mountains.